Enter the Stars, live this Sunday morning. I'll be sharing screens soon here. But before we do, Sunday, Super Bowl Sunday, what does it mean? Monday Night Football, what does that mean? Well, if you have eyes to see and ears to hear, you know that the sun and the moon are worshipped. Apollyon, Abaddon, sun worship. Gladiator sports. NFL, Nephilim. You know, most people are numb to the numbers. Have no idea what the numbers on the backs of these players mean. No idea what it means that people of great stature are worshipped in this reality. God claims Saturday as the Sabbath, and the devil claims Sunday as his Sabbath. So what do? We fight fire with fire. We expose all that is hidden so that we can understand the nature of this reality. Now I'm going to be starting a new channel called Read My Lips. And actually that should have been the name of the original channel for truth. Because when you really do read people's lips, you begin to understand what exactly they're talking about under the surface. And when I say under the surface, what am I really talking about? I'm talking about all that is hidden beneath the veil, hidden beneath the surface, the underside of the meaning of everything and how it is all connected to each other. I appreciate you guys coming out today. We're going to get deep into some of these terms, banking terminology. What is a bank? A bank holds money, right? It does that, but what else does it do? Banks hold the current of a river. What is current? Current is currency. This is the kind of stuff we're going to get into today. It's not going to be a long show. But what it is going to do is we're going to begin to peel back the veil in terms of this monetary system. Now I'm sharing screens thanks to you guys that care enough about the truth to come out here this morning. Many of you are probably getting ready to watch the Super Bowl. Look, I'm not going to judge you. I won't be watching it. But what I will do is I'm going to decode the halftime show, because we all know there's going to be all kinds of occult meaning in it as the elite orchestrate their plans. So that is what we do here. Everybody, before we continue, thumbs up this show, copy the link, paste it everywhere, share this truth. The chat's a little different today. What's going on with the chat, Casey? It's got a dollar sign in it. What does that mean? Well, YouTube just rolled out something, I guess, where you can pay money for your comment to go to the top of the chat. Now, what I'm thinking is the trolls are going to have a field day with this, or maybe they won't, because they don't want to do anything to support this channel. Ignore it. And if you guys want, some of you might like to play around with stuff like this. Do your thing. Let's get into this show, you guys. Now, I do have another show coming up soon, and that is Apollo, the Apollo Theater. We're going to talk all about Apollyon, Abaddon, Amateur Night, which occurred historically on Wednesday, Hump Day, Hump Night. And what do the people do when they go to Amateur Night at the Apollo? They rub the tree stump on Hump Night. Now you tell me this is not a coincidence. What does the hump represent? What does the stump represent? Well, we did a video on UMP and what that actually means. But I'm going to go deeper into that. That'll be a good show. We're going to save that for Wednesday of the middle of the week, since that's hump day, right? Getting over the hump, getting over the bell curve. And we're going to talk about some of these banking terms today. Now, this is shocking because all throughout banking terminology, we have bizarre synchronicities with some of this verbiage and language that they used, okay? We do know that there was an accounting system in the Bible. A lot of this will go back to the Bible, some of these root words. There was an accounting system in the Bible for the accounting of sins. Well, the enemy, the devil, has carried that over into this current reality. And instead of accounting for your sins, you account for your sine wave. What is the sine wave? It is time. It is the bell curve. Now let's look up this sine wave. And what you will see is when you turn this sine wave on its side, it is a dollar sign. So accounting really means an alternate version of the original accounting system of sin. Let's look at this sine curve here. Here it is, and as you can see, if you were to take this image here with its graph and turn it on its side, it is a dollar sign. Plain and simple. This is what we're dealing with. It's a occult meaning of some of these words. Now we're going to go through here. And honestly, to give you guys the truth, I haven't really looked into very much detail about some of these terms. So this is very much going to be a live decode, okay? And we're going to just look at some of these words. I'm thinking that an automated teller machine is like a fortune teller telling you your fortune, right? What is fortune? Fortune is money. So it is dispensing your money or your fortune. That's why they call it an automated teller machine. Okay? What do you do when you go to the teller machine? Well, you are told your fortune, right? What do? You touch a screen. What is that screen? It's your crystal ball. You're basically getting your fortune told in the crystal ball when you go to an ATM machine. Now let's keep going with this. Let me go in the chat here. Make sure you guys pick you guys up off the floor. Have a cup of coffee. Enjoy this. And we're going to just keep going for a while and see what we can find in this glossary of terms. Give some shout outs. Carpe Diem, I see Jennifer, Jill, X, Gary Baxter's in the house. Nomo Sushi. Thanks you guys for all coming out. T. Kerr. Hey, it's Sarah. Jay Roberts. Jackie. Betty. Cal. Kai. CK Rooster. Thanks you guys for coming out. Okay, let's keep this going. Now, this is nuts because I just told you that the bank not only does it hold a river, but it holds the current, which is the currency. We just talked about the fortune teller. Now, what is the balance? What is the bounce check? What does that mean? Well, this is all Baal worship or Baal worship, okay? And that's why they call a check that's overdrawn a bounce check, because what do balls do? They bounce, okay? Let's keep going with this. Credit. We also know that deposit, what could that mean? Depot. Now, overdraft. That's when you basically your account is overdrawn. Okay. Draft seems to have the inference of like air, the flow, right? This is all about the flow of currency, the flow of the river, the flow of the air. Now, this spills over into corporate language as well. And what is a corporation? I believe that it is a corpse. It signifies death. So when you're incorporated, you're in a corpse, right? Let's keep going. Let's look at some of these other. Are there any of these that you guys want me to take a closer look at? So I scroll up here, go back in the chat. Non-sufficient funds. Yeah, that's something that we see quite often, right? Overdrawn. My card hardly works with 300 bucks in it, says Domosishi. Gary says the fart drafted over the current of the sea. Now all this goes back to maritime law. Okay, this is the system we're stuck in. And someone had asked me what that means. Maritime law. Well, all of this is marine and Mary. This is Mary, and Mary is seen as the mother, right? And the womb, being born into the waters of the amniotic fluid. And when we're born into this beast realm, we have to go by the laws and rules of this realm. So maritime law in the Navy, which is like the naval, this is what constricts us and holds us into the system. Okay. Well, this is the lower waters that we live in. And so they rule the lower waters. Okay. Debit. Ask CK Rooster. What could that mean? Debit. That's a good question. It's got the first deadbeat, says T. Kerr. Makes the straw man as well. Go back into some of these terms here. We know that credit card, that's no accident. A, B, C. C is the third letter of the alphabet, alphanumerically, which makes the word credit card 33, right? We also know that card, the word card backwards is drac, which is like Dracula or draconian, or the devil, which is like the dragon. That's the root word of the word dragon is drac. D-R-A-C is the same as D-R-A-G. So we have a 33 dragon card is our credit cards, okay? Deposit probably means depose of, or to tear down, or to kill. And of course, everything's about the electronic, right? This is the enemy's way of communication and control, and eventually to assimilate us all into this electronic universe. You know, I bank with Bank of America, and they're constantly on me they're pushing this mobile app. You can only do that through the mobile app. You can only order checks through the mobile app. Well, you know what I told them? I go, look, I have an iPhone 4 and it doesn't run your mobile app, and I'm not upgrading. Because every time I upgrade, you guys get more and more control of our personal lives. And I'm done. So I said, I don't need your checks anymore. That's how they track you anyway. By the way, what could check mean? Let's think about that for a second. Checkmate. Yes, that is probably what that means. That is a chess term, right? And we know that the chessboard is 8 squares by 8 squares. So there's your 88. And it's the black and white, of course, the duality world. So when you write a check, write has the root word writhe, like a snake. Snakes writhe around, right? When you write or writ a check, then you are basically checkmating. Okay. Now, we also know that the chessboard is the Freemasons' way of showing us this duality world. Everything is in black and white. Let's see what else we have here. Let's close this one up. Got a couple of these glossaries of terms pulled up that we can go through, you guys. Let's see if you guys have any ideas in here. Keep check on you. Why is check spelt check in the UK? So it's CK and QU is the difference. QUE. CK and QUE. That's a good question. $11. So C is the third letter of the alphabet, and K is the 11th letter. So there's 311, which is just like 9/11, actually. 3/11 is when Fukushima happened on 3/11/11. And so that's CK for the CK spelling of the word check. QUE is the way it's spelled in the UK. Let's see. I need an alphanumerics graph that I should be able to look at instead of counting it out on my fingers. Q is the, let's look this up real quick. Alphanumeric chart. All right, here we go. And 26 letters. Geez, they don't make this easy, do they? Here's one we can use. So QUE is 16, 20, and 5. $16, 20, and 5. All right, so that's really not going to tell us anything. We're kind of just exploring some of these glossary terms. Let's see here. So we just talked about the balance and how that is ball, or what's left over in your account, right? Because even though you write checks against your balance, the balance is everything else that's left. It surrounds us. The ball, okay? Let's look through some of these other terms. What is a mortgage? That's a pretty easy one. A mortgage you carry with you for the life of your mortality, right? So it is a lifelong commitment. That's why they have these mortgages for 30 years. I was a completely different person 30 years ago. It's like we go through phases in our lives, right? There's no way that a mortgage should last the life of you, or even half the life, or even a third of the life, which is, according to Bible principles, debts are not supposed to go longer than 7 years, right? So a mortgage seems to gauge your mortality. What is a rate? Well, a rate could be like a rat. Adverse action. Let's look down through some of these. Amortization, mortality. Again, reminding us that we're trapped in this realm. Appraisal, like praise, giving the praise to the value of your property, okay? And that's basically evaluating and setting the value of a specific piece of personal or real property. So we see these biblical associations and analogies that are kind of linked in with this whole banking system, which of course is the knockoff of the truth. A bill. Look through, let's get into the B's here. Again, this is all ruled by the corporations, the corpse in the state. So it makes no, so it's not surprising that it's called a bank statement, because it's the state run. Now, this is where we get into a little bit of the birth and how this relates to maritime law, the womb, being born into the womb, into this world of sin. Bankruptcy, what could that mean? Well, it's when the bank ruptures. In other words, the breaking of the water, okay? So your net worth is liquidated, and that relates back to the amniotic fluid in the waters again. Maritime law. Who benefits from your net worth? Your beneficiary. I'm still stuck on the word bill. I know it must mean something. Maybe the bird, the bill of the bird. I don't know. As it relates to flight, the air. But we'll keep thinking on what the word bill can mean. If you guys have any ideas on what that can mean. We're into the C's now. Also, the word fund. If you guys have any ideas on the word fund. It does feel like we're in a carnival, doesn't it? In the fun house. All right, I'm in the chat here. Bill Clinton. All right, let's keep going with this. Consumer. That's what they call all of us, right? Like the serpent eating the dust, consuming the dust. Consumer. All right, we're into the D's. And debit card. Deb backwards is bed. Now we did a decode on Debbie Gibson, and in her basically her signature music video that came out when she first became popular, it opened with a bed. And I remember calling that out in the decode. Debbie Gibson, Deb backwards is bed. And it opened with a white bed. And she's standing on the beach. And I think it was it in black and white? Maybe it was, I can't remember. And the ocean was crashing. And again, that's maritime. It's the ocean, okay? So there's more to this Deb in bed thing, and we'll probably get into that in future decodes that we do. Income, that's like the tide incoming. see here. Let's keep going with this. I'm into the D's. Again, the draft has probably something to do with the vortex or the wind. Now, some of these root words go back to the beginning of time, like the word embezzlement. That reminds me of Beelzebub, okay? These combinations of consonants and vowels that seem to transcend different languages and go back to the beginning of time. And that's exactly what Beelzebub did. It was one of the original demons of the fallen angels that fell. Was he embezzled mankind into this system. Now, according to the book of Enoch, this writing thing is very important. Enoch says that the fallen angels taught men writing. Now, does that mean we're all supposed to stop writing things? I don't think so. We'll have to use some of the tools of the enemy to fight the enemy. Okay, so let me look this up. Enoch, fallen angels taught writing. Let's see what the book of Enoch says about this. We know that spelling is like a spell. And we know that the blackboard is like black magic. Okay. There's a lot of terms that spill over into even schooling, which is like the schooling of fish, keeping us all in this matrix system. So here it is. Writing and reading was taught. I'm trying to find the actual. Let's go here. Let's go to Watching Angel. The writing with ink and paper. It was taught by Penniman. And okay, so when you pen something, this is where it came from. This is the original fallen angel, Penniman, who taught the writing of ink and paper. Let's read about him. He's a watcher in Enochian lore. He's a curer of stupidity in men, mentioned in Bereshith Rabbah. As an angel associated with Abraxiel, Penniman was also likely of the order of the healing angels called the Labim. The name of the fourth is Penniman. He discovered to the children of men bitterness and sweetness and pointed out to them every secret of their wisdom. He taught men to understand writing and the use of ink and paper. And therefore, numerous have been those who have gone astray from every period of the world, even to this day. For men were not born for this, thus with pen and with ink to confirm their faith. Okay, this goes back to writing checks. Remember, writ, write, writhe like a snake. Check is like the chessboard, checkmate. Since they were not created except that, like the angels, they might remain righteous and pure, nor would death, which destroys everything, have affected them. But by this their knowledge they perish, and by this also its power consumes them. So the knowledge is what has caused us to perish. This knowledge that was taught to us by the fallen angels. And that's why there's a big difference between knowledge and wisdom. Knowledge coming from the fallen ones, wisdom coming from God. Okay. So these are all the things that cause us to die. Writing, pen and ink, taught to us by the fallen angels. Okay. Of course, we have an intercessor, and that is Christ, that supersedes all of this sorcery. But make no mistake, we're born into a system of sorcery that is very hard to completely free yourself from, and really nobody can do it. You have to go through Christ. He is the only way. There's only one way to the Father, and that is through the Son. Let's keep going with some of these. Here's escrow. So here's the crow, of course, right? In the word escrow, we know that the crow is the harbinger of evil. And the escrow is definitely the harbinger before a mortgage closes. It's in escrow. So it's about to happen. Let's keep going with this. We're into the F's. A credit is a creed, is what I'm thinking, is what I'm picking up on here. The credit, when you get credit, it's the creed. What is a creed? A creed is like a promise or a way to live by. Most people remain in credit debt. It's their creed. It's their credo. See how all this kind of fits perfectly in together? Let's keep going with this. We're into the F's here. Talked about the mortgage earlier. All right, I'm back in the chat. Yes, Lori, my people perish because of lack of knowledge. Phoenician is where Tricky started. Yeah, I've heard about the ancient Phoenicians, Darth Vader. Use the Force. Jesus is God and the Father, the Creator, says Michael. Wisdom is everything. Is Sabbath in there? Let's think about that for a minute. Oh, let's look in the S's. Let's do that. We're in the F's right now. Fraud. Again, water references when your account is frozen. We know that water freezes. Okay, all this points back to maritime again. Loan, the word loan is what I'm thinking is like Noel or nail or Noah backwards. Loan backwards is like Noel. So that's, you're basically borrowing or on borrowed time. Noel is also Chronos, time. So the loan, you're borrowing time, basically. Now, this isn't exact, you guys. I'm just throwing out ideas. I'm kind of just talking. I don't know what equity could mean. I think we covered many of the more popular terms that are out there for financing and corporations. Interest, to inter, means to lay to rest. Inter, like when someone passes away, they're interred. Okay, interred at, and it'll say whatever cemetery or whatever. So interest is not a good thing. See what else we have here. Charge has a fire reference. Fire when you're charred or charged for something. Lender is like lentil, which is the cross beam over the doors. So it has the first three letters of the word lentil, which is basically like, it represents the top piece, or kind of like the yoke on a cow. It's what keeps you in submission, okay? The lentil. And we've talked a little bit about the lentil over the past couple weeks. The lentis is the framework or the veil of vasculature that covers your lens of the inner eye. We talked about that. So again, a len must mean to cover. And this is what these lenders do. They basically attach themselves kind of like some kind of a virus or some kind of a, what's the word I'm looking for? A basically like a parasite. They attach themselves like a parasite to you. And then you owe the lender, right? What does owe mean? Owe is like an oath. And the Bible says, do not swear oaths. Okay, this is forbidden in the Bible. You're not supposed to give oaths of any kind. But yet we know that the fallen angels swore oaths to each other and they came down to earth. All this goes back to the fallen angels, you guys. A lien, that's easy. That's a lie. L-I-E-N. A lien is a lie. In other words, what are liens? Well, if another part of your financial life falls apart, they will put liens on your other assets. What's an asset? Well, I would say an asset is like an ass, which carries the burden. I mean, when we think about the animal and what that represents. So your assets become your burden. They become things that you have to take account of and care for. And like you would have an ass. Your ass back in biblical times was an asset, right? Because it helps you do things. It helped carry your loads. It had value to it. Okay. In fact, like in the book of Job, the amount of cattle and asses that he had represented his wealth. And so, in fact, an asset represents your wealth, just like an ass would represent your wealth back in ancient times. And so, see how all this is starting to come together when you really think about it? Words mean something, you guys. Your line of credit, to me, this line represents the narrow gate. And so the enemy seeks to replace the narrow gate to heaven with his own line, the line of credit, right? The line of the dreck, or the creed. So this is the devil's creed in his line. All right, let's keep going with this. Looks like we hit what is a contract? Well, that to me is a con job, because contracts never are written in favor of the person that they claim to protect. They're written in a legalese form so that it tricks you, so that there's always fine print somewhere that favors the side of the controllers rather than the consumers, right? So a contract is rarely a good thing. What do fees do? Fees feed the beast. They load it up with feed for the beast, right? They load it up with fees. All right, let's keep going with this. That was the L's seem to be loaded with symbolism. Let me come back in the chat here. Make sure you guys are good. Apollo's creed, exactly. Apollyon, Abaddon. All banks have no money. They zero out at the closing of the day. Absolutely. Borrower, says CK Reister. Borrow or burrow. Again, these are animal references. Because that's what you do. You basically bury yourself. You burrow and you borrow and you bury yourself into debt when you borrow. And all of these words, subliminally, we know everything that I'm saying to you, our minds have subliminally already figured out. I'm just speaking it. But subliminally, this is meant to keep you entangled and in control on a subliminal level. As I just described to you what the word borrow probably means, which is burrowing yourself into a place where you cannot return from. All right, let's keep going with this. We already know what market means. We discussed that on previous shows. This one's easy because marketing is Mercury. Mercury is the god of commerce. Mercury has an 88-day cycle around the sun. And all the words that come out of the word Mercury describe our financial system, such as marketing, mercantilism, merchandise. That all comes from the root word Mercury. Okay. Again, he's the god of commerce, commercial. When you watch a commercial, we're going to watch some Super Bowl commercials today, right? I'll be decoding those, by the way, as soon as I can get my hands on some of them. Maybe Monday, maybe Tuesday, maybe I'll do a show on the Super Bowl commercials. Money, of course, is the honey of the hive. Money and honey. Okay. Mammon. That's why they call it money, because it's Mammon, which is the god of money. So instead of honey, they're calling it money. Let's see what else we have here. All right, scrolling down. We're into the ends. We're almost through this, you guys. I just wanted to do a show that thoroughly looked at each one of these banking terms. Okay. And I don't think anyone's ever really done this before. So this will be good for the future. We're into the P's. I don't know what the word pay means. Like pain, maybe? Payee, I don't know. That one's got me stumped. Personal identification number. Again, there's that PIN, like, the word PIN, P-E-N, PIN. Again, it's fallen angels taught Penal, which was the name of that fallen angel, right? Who taught men the writings. So they seem to be keeping some of these same themes. Let me pop back in the chat. All right. See if you guys have any other ideas of other things that we can cover. Pan, exactly, Lori. Patsy, passage. Pay in Hebrew means to speak, word. Okay, wow. How many kids have been sacrificed to keep that bastard Bush alive, says Supernova. That's kind of random. Yeah, he's going to be, I think, doing the coin toss. George Bush and Barbara Bush are going to be doing the coin toss today for the Super Bowl. What time does the Super Bowl start? So 3:30? 33? I don't know. All right, let's keep going with some of these terms. We'll be on here for about another 15 minutes, you guys. Penalty, of course, is penal. Okay. Penalize. Which is a bastardization of the word pineal gland. You have two penal areas on your body. You have your pineal gland, which ties you into the spiritual, and you have your penis, which ties you into the beast. And make no mistake, men and women have a form of a penis. Now, I didn't really mean to go there this morning, and some of you are probably going, whoa, that's kind of heavy for this, but we have to get down to the root words of these meanings, okay, you guys? The penal locks you into the beast, whereas the pineal locks you into the spirit world. And we're supposed to keep our eyes fixed on heaven, or keep our eyes locked into the spiritual, so we're not deceived and drawn into the beast realm, because in the beast realm is where anarchy and chaos persists. It is where the serpent can rule over you if you are too heavily living in the beast portion. If you're too heavily into the left brain instead of the right brain, right? Let's keep going with some of these. We're into the R's. We've already covered a lot of these. We're into the S's now. Okay, safe deposit box. Well, we know what the box is. We already talked about the word deposit, which means to depose or to kill, right? But what does the word box mean? Well, this is the cube. The cube is the box. This is why we have post office boxes and safe deposit boxes and mail boxes. And everything is in a box because it reinforces the prison mindset, right? That's why you go to work in a cubicle. Okay. And we get charged for everything, right? We get charred like the forest gets charred. The trees are charged by the fires. Everything is fire. Let's see what else we have here. Terms. Of course, that's terminate, from the word terminate. So the terms dictate the arrangement, okay? The arrangement by which you are terminated. A trust is basically a lie, so it's like the opposite of what it really means. And now we're into the use. All right. So that pretty much covers most of these terms. I was trying to see if there's anything else in here before we get off of here, you guys. Here's some acronyms. All right. So, you guys have any questions? Yeah, absolutely, Jennifer. Charge, burnt offering. Exactly. Wow, that's a good one. I didn't even think of that. Yeah, because it's always about the burnt offering. So remember, this is all about replacing the accounting system, the sin system of God. We saw the accounting system outlined in very high detail in the Bible, in the Old Testament. The Israelites had to account for their sins with a burnt sacrifice. So now the devil's going to replace that with his accounting system of charging you or charring you of sacrifice. Wallet. Someone asked about the wallet. Yes, the wall is Baal, Baal, which is also the root word of ball. So ball, oh, okay. So a bill is also the ball. Bill is ball is wall. Let's type that in here. So the word wall, let's type this in here, is also vol. Did a video on this. This is why they have Walmart. Walmart is basically Walmart, okay? Which is Valentine's Day. So we did a video on this. I'm trying to find it here. And it actually talks about how these two words are related to one another. Words. Let's see here. See if we can find that article. And so all this goes back to Baal. All of the world is run by Baal or Baal worship. So these words are all derivatives of it. Wall, Vol, Bill. Okay. And it's just in different languages. So a wallet holds your bills, right? There's no mistake that the wall, it holds the bill. See, those are the same word, basically. So that's what that probably means. So here they talk about language theory. They show it here. The sentence of our wall, W-A-L, which for every such an W word will evaluate a sequence of costs using vol, V-A-L. So here's some language theory here explaining how the words wall and vol fit together. Let's do vol meaning. Be back in the chat in a minute, you guys. Here's a site behind the name, the word vol. Valentine. Put W here. So look at this. So here's another term. Look, we typed in the word wall and we have weighted average life. You see how this, so this is, again, this root word AL, WAL, BAL, BIL, is the average length of time that each dollar of unpaid principal on a loan or mortgage, or an amortizing bond remains outstanding. Okay. Weighted average life, WAL. So all of these things have meaning. Okay. Let's take a look here. All right, let's go back into this, into the chat here. Great question, by the way. Yes, valiant, valor. Okay. Basically, it's bravery, but in the beast mode of conquering. Okay. Having no fear. Wall equals to surround or enclose. Absolutely, Lori. Jennifer says, how much is that RFID safe wallet? I think I have them for like $6.99 or $7.99. Check out that website. Yeah, I invented this wallet insert, which is basically a wallet that stands alone. And the cool thing about it is it's called a nothing wallet. So it's a minimalist wallet to take our focus off of spending money and focusing on trying to eradicate money and debt from our lives. So it's kind of a wallet with a message behind it. Now, I don't know how many people are going to pick up on that, but it's just a reminder that we should try to get away from money. And the more you can get away from it, the better. Your life will just be better because you're not going to have this dark cloud hanging over your head. So thanks for that question. I think it was Jennifer that asked that question about the nothing wallet that I have in the description of this video. All right, let's see what else we have here. Let's go back to this glossary of terms. All right. Now, a lot of these terms go back to ancient gods, like The word tax, I'm thinking it may have something to do with Tammuz, which is an ancient Egyptian god, and the system of basically taking part of all earnings in their monetary system. Sure, the word tax also has other root meanings as well. Scrolling down through some of these other terms, business terms. So hopefully this was helpful, you guys. I know we didn't cover every single one, but I think we probably got through a good portion of some of these monetary terms. And there are just so many. Here's antediluvian. Of course, this is a flood reference. What's this doing in here? Oh, this is a term used to describe something that is obsolete. So they're giving anything that's determined as obsolete the term antediluvian. So, of course, that has to do with the flood as well. All right, you guys have any more questions? Taxidermy, stuffed dead animals, exactly. Has something to do with being dead. Wow, Jennifer's hitting on all cylinders today. You are on target and awake this morning with this stuff because my mind is only so good, so that's why I need you guys. Thanks, Supernova. Supernova says, Interstars really enjoy your channel. Is there a chat function on your website? Yeah, we're trying to get that fixed. It was doing great for a long time, and now the chat's not working on the website. So that's why we're doing the chat here over the past 3 or 4 live streams. So we'll stay here until things get fixed over there. Thanks, Angela Stars. According to the Bible, yes, BUR, according to the law, it has been changed. Probably from the root word borrow or borrow. Casey, I don't watch anything satanic. No Super Bowl for me, says Catherine. Yeah, I stopped watching the Super Bowl, I want to say about 7 or 8 years ago. All that weird energy leading up to the Super Bowls. It's kind of an excitement, but it reminds me of the feeling that people must have had before they went into the Roman Colosseum to watch the gladiators fight. And I don't think it's good energy, you guys. There's parts of our life where we do things because we're asleep. But I believe the whole thing is pretty much just the devil and all of his vices on display. Okay, there are people that spend a lot of money to go to Super Bowl and host Super Bowl parties, excess and debauchery, drunkenness, DUIs. There's just unfortunately not a lot of positive things that come out of this kind of battle. Okay, and to kind of extrapolate on that a little bit about what happens at some of these sporting events is that you have these teams. So what they're doing is they're reinforcing the duality world that we live in. And some people get really serious about this stuff, about don't talk bad about my team. They get into these rivalries and they can bet. They bet money and gamble, right? And they basically can lose a lot of money. They get very involved and invested in their team. They follow their team, spend a lot of money following their team with paraphernalia and clothing and all of these different things that are associated with this. And to me, this is a form of worship. I mean, it really is. I mean, I hate to be a prude, but when you wake up, things like Super Bowl just don't mean what they used to mean, is what I'm trying to say here, you guys. It just doesn't. And honestly, you could turn on the last 15 minutes of some of these games and see all you need to see. if you really want to be entertained by something like this, okay? I mean, literally, it's like you could turn on the last 15 minutes and you feel like you watched the whole thing. But some people, this is, it's a cultural thing, and they have parties, and it's a social thing, and they're invested into it emotionally, physically, mentally. And, I'm not going to judge those people, but that's where I stand. I'm more focused and determined to decode what the enemy is putting out that has people under this mind control, has, half of the world wanting to watch two teams battle it out. I'm determined to find out what is the mechanism that the enemy is using so that we could subvert that mechanism and win points back to God. I'd like to see everybody in the world beholden to the Son of Man like they are to NFL teams. And if I saw a day where half the world, loved Christ and could actually follow his principles instead of being misled by a church, then I could get behind that, of course. But there's just something really wrong about all this whole thing that's going on. So I'm going to get to the bottom of it with some of these decodes that are coming up. We'll probably, like I said, we'll do a Super Bowl decode show probably next week. We'll get into some of the details of that, you guys. All right. If you have a mortgage, it is actually to see how dead you are. Yes, it's a mortgage. I love that. That's awesome that way. Thank you. Exactly. And again, the football is ball. Okay, it's ball worship. All again, it's kind of interesting how all this ties into what we're talking about the ball, right? The balance sheet, the bill, the wall, it. Okay, it all fits together. What else do we have here? Yeah, and the word law, make no mistake, is ball backwards or wall backwards. It was made that way. It's intended. It was intended to be that. So wall is law backwards. You have to always look at the mirror of these words as well. And those are the first things that I do when I look at a word and what it might mean. I mirror the word and see what that means. All right. Jaw Webb says, I'm going to be making a song with some of Casey's knowledge. I DMed you on Twitter today. Cool. So DMed on Twitter. He's got a song coming out. If I see that, I'll share it or retweet it or something. I don't really go on Twitter much, you guys. I know some of you guys, I've only got like 2,000 Twitter followers. I'm a Twitter tard. All right. Yeah, and the word comet comes from the word commerce, right? What does commerce mean? It's the exchange of money. Okay. Now, do you think it's a mistake that word, that root word commerce, the god of commerce, remember I told you is Mercury. Is it a mistake that the word comet? So what could that mean? Well, comets, as I told you guys, is the theory of how the universe was seeded. This is the theory they put forward, that comets, asteroids, and heavenly bodies basically smashed into one another. And this is how life was spread throughout the universe. This is the theory that they put forward to us. So it's the transfer of genetic information throughout the universe is what a comet is, which is the same thing as commerce, the spread of this monetary system in all of these transactions. Okay? And that's what it is. It's like ping pong balls, comet ping pong. Comets bouncing around throughout the universe, spreading their seed. Panspermia is what it's called. That's the theory of comets smashing into one another and into other heavenly bodies and spreading this information. Genetic information is what they're saying. Now, this is the deception by which, this is the information by which they will wage this deception. And so make no mistake that that's coming. All right, what else do we have in here? Yeah, comet ping pong, exactly, literally. And James Alefantis knows this. He's Greek. James Achilles Alefantis. He knows this. That's why he named his place Comet Ping Pong. He knows. He's a panspermia proponent. We know that James Alefantis is a panspermia proponent. You want to know why? Because he showcases it in his film that he helped produce called Chapel Perilous. Chapel Perilous, they show the horn god Pan. Here's some images. Let's see if there's screenshots from it. Oh, they're not going to show us. You're going to have to go watch my video to see screenshots from Chapel Perilous. And they mention a book in this short film by James Alefantis. They mentioned a book called The Cosmic Serpent, which is all about panspermia. We covered this. Cosmic Serpent. And the Cosmic Serpent is describing the serpent seed that goes around the cosmos like a comet, bouncing around and taking with it the DNA of the serpent. This is it here. Let's pull this up. This was in a film by James Alefantis himself. I decoded this, called Chapel Perilous. We see this character, and he grows horns. This is him here. This is James Alefantis' movie, one of the actors in the movie. With these horns, the beast has the horns. The blue blood, he's in a blue jacket. In Beauty and the Beast has a blue jacket, blue blood, serpent blood, and James Alefantis knows this. The book referenced in his short film is this book, The Cosmic Serpent. It's named in the film. This is the serpent seed, the blue blood, origins and knowledge. Books mentioned. So he knows panspermia. It's all there, you guys. All right, I'm back in the chat. And why is everyone picking on Alefantis? He's just a pizza owner. Actually, he's not. He called him his own self Pan in Instagram. I am Pan. You don't go around calling yourself a horned god who is anthropomorphic, unisex. You don't do that. Normal people don't do that. But James Alefantis does. Under his alias Jimmy Comet. Here it is. He's not just the pizza shop. I think you might have been saying that facetiously in the chat. So I hope this doesn't come across as me defending you, attacking me. I'm just pointing this out for people who actually do think that he is just a pizza shop owner. Here it is here. Let's see here. Why is that blurry? Oh, here it is. This is the horn god Pan. There's a statue, and he himself says, "That's me. I'm Pan." Okay. His grandmother was one of the daughters of Penelope, which is a secret cult organization. Okay. He's not just a pizza shop owner. All right, let's keep going with this. Close some of these windows, you guys. All right. All right. Pizzagate, I'm sorry, and Deflategate had significance as well. Esoteric significance. Okay. Deflating the ball. The football is actually shaped like the convex lens Earth. I did a video on this. Let me see if I can find it. Taking all of the balls that are used in the top sports in the world. I took a soccer ball, a basketball, and a football, and I superimposed them into the inner eye. And what I found was unbelievable. Each ball represents a piece or a piece of the inner eye, a component of the inner eye, an element of the inner eye. When you superimpose these sports balls, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to find that real quick while I've got you guys on here live. This is fascinating. Well, I told people to unsubscribe, and sadly, I lost 3 people. So now you guys know that when you see all of these thumbs down, which you're about to see right now on this channel, you understand that they are not coming from my subscribers. They're coming from people that come to this channel who want to destroy it. That should enrage you and embolden you to continue to follow this channel, because after I told everyone who didn't like what they were seeing here to unsubscribe, I lost 3 people. So they can go, as W likes to say, kick rocks. And this is the damage in the war that's been waged on this channel. Now, let's see if we can find this sports. I think it was a live show we did on this. Let's see if it pulls up here. Oh, boom, here it is. 2 minutes, 24 seconds. I'm just going to play this for you guys. This is cool. So you've got all these balls. Uh-oh. We're going to do a bandwidth issue, I think. See if it plays. Oh, come on. We'll give it a second here, you guys. So the deflating of the ball was significant. It was symbolic. The ball is the cup as well. And the filling of the cup with sin. Let's listen to this. And the, okay.
Now, we covered this on a previous video, but I thought that it would make sense that we go ahead and cover it.
So let this load a little bit while I finish this. So basically, God says that the earth would fill with like a cup with sin, and when it was full, that then the wrath God would pour out his wrath onto the earth. So the cup is this convex lens. The earth is shaped like a cup, basically, a contact lens turned upside down onto a flat table, okay? And it's filling with sin, it's growing. And this is what happens in your moves and grows. It stretches out. This is how you focus on objects when you're looking at them. Your lens moves. It's elastic, okay? So as the earth fills with sin, things get worse and worse, okay? Where's the sin coming from? When someone's murdered or killed, they go into the ground. God is sensitive to the ground. It's the dust. And he picks up on this evil, okay? It's tangible to God, okay? And so all of this evil and sin is recycled in the earth over and over, and it's building up like like bread, like leavening of bread that is rising and growing, right? You put bread that is leavening in it, you put it in a bowl, and it grows, okay? This is why when Jesus said, "This is my body and this is my blood," he said that the bread was supposed to be unleavened. The reason why is because leavening represents sin, okay? It is what's making the earth grow with sin. So by Jesus representing himself as unleavened bread, that is sinless bread. He's the real bread. He's like the manna without the leavening in it. Okay, let's listen to this real quick.
By itself, because this information is so important. Now, what we've done is we've looked at all of the major sports in the world. And when you begin to overlay these sports onto the human eye, the truth reveals itself. First, we have the basketball, which represents the twin opposed vortexes that we see in the night sky.
Okay, so the basketball, you see the lines on the basketball, and that exactly looks like the patterning of stars when you look up into the heavens at the equator. The star spin with time-lapse photography looks like the owl eyes in the night sky,
which represents the owl eyes and the rotation of stars going up and away at the equator.
So there it is. That's the basketball. It's the magnetic field.
And when we overlay the ball, we begin to see that that represents the lens, the convex lens shape of the Earth. But it goes even deeper.
So you see the football is the convex lens. Okay, so this is why Deflategate happened. It's sorcery. So it's subliminally telling you, no, the Earth's not rising with sin. It's deflating.
Because we also have the ball. Now the ball is unique because it represents.
This is the soccer ball. This represents the inside lining of the walls of the eye, which has hexagons. Now they're showing pentagrams, but I believe there's also hexagons too, hexagons and pentagons on the soccer ball.
Represents the hexagonal honeycomb matrix.
Now, why is there hexagons mixed with pentagons? Why, you're asking? It's because the pentagon represents the Baphomet, which is in Washington, D.C. The roads are shaped like the Pentagon, as well as the Pentagon itself in Washington, D.C. That is the Baphomet, the rulership of the honeycomb matrix. That's why you see a soccer ball, or they call it a football. In all the rest of the world, a soccer ball is called a football, okay? Because it's the enemy bruising in the head and the heel, which is when you play football or soccer, there's head and foot are the two dominant places where the ball is striking, because it's the serpent, ball, Baal worship. This is why he has all these sports, these spectator sports, these Colosseum sports, to reinforce this imagery. And you don't even know it's happening. He will bruise her in the heel, and she will bruise him in the head. That is what it says in the Bible about the enmity between the seeds, the two seeds, the serpent seed and the Christ seed. And this bruising in the head and the heel is the Ouroboros. It's the snake eating its tail. It's eating its own heel. It's going in a circle, eating its own dust. Keep this going.
That line the walls of the eye, as well as the cross-section.
Now, when you do a cross-section of the inside lining of this eye that you're looking at here, you see exactly what looks to be like a soccer ball. It's a honeycomb matrix.
Of the lens at the bottom of the eye. It is the hexagonal honeycomb matrix.
You see the very same hexagonal honeycomb matrix that is in the lining of the eye, of the walls of the eye. You see that in the lens below as well. It's all around us in this world.
which is what you see down here in the corner. This is the wall of your eye, and it is also a hexagonal honeycomb.
There's your soccer ball.
Matrix. So you see, all of the major sports represent the structures of the inner eye, and the people in power in this world understand this completely. The Illuminati, as you can see here.
Now, what you're looking at here is the symbol of the Illuminati. If you go to illuminati.org, their official website, this is their new symbol, and it shows the eye and the looking out into the material realm, which deceives us. See, not looking within to find the answers.
And they wish to become God on earth. Take care and be safe, you guys.
All right, so that's that. Glad we got to cover that real quick. All right, Althea and Nia's put a soccer ball. That's pretty cool. Right on. Good to see you in here, Althea. There's Holly. Holly's in the house. Brian. Let's see. Tree of life or the tree of good and evil. Yes. As far as I can tell, the trees are the magnetic fields. Trees grow into the magnetic field. That's why they grow the way they're growing. They're growing into the prison of this realm. Okay? We can't get out of it. This is the prison. All right, you guys. Well, I think I'm going to pop off of here. Glad everybody could come out. Much love to you guys. And I guess we'll close it out. Give some shout outs to everybody that can make the show. Enjoy the rest of your day, you guys. Try not to take life too seriously. Always take the time to try to laugh a little bit. I know I haven't done such a great job. I've been so serious. And sometimes we just got to loosen up. What's your take on Antarctica, Casey? Well, I know that channels like David Simon have been talking about Antarctica. We've been talking about Antarctica for a long time. Fact, there is a Casey station in Brown Bay. If you don't believe me, look it up. It's an Australian outpost in Antarctica. Aussie backwards is Yeshua, which is my name backwards. If you don't believe me, type it out and look it up. What does this have to do with you, Casey? Nothing. I'm just awake and have eyes to see this stuff. And I'm trying to help everybody else see the same thing. There's something about the ring of ice around Antarctica. And there will be secrets there uncovered. There's a reason why we can't go down there. There's a reason why they don't want us down there. I have my thoughts. I believe that many of the secrets that there are left to be uncovered are held in Antarctica. I did a video showing a flyover from the original expedition to Antarctica by a very famous man. Black and white footage of honeycomb matrix elements from the top of an airplane. I don't know if that video is still up, but if you type in Antarctica and enter the stars, you should be able to see it. It's in black and white. They may have blocked it. I don't know, but check that out. That will blow you away. Hexagonal honeycomb matrix seen from an airplane in black and white footage on one of the first expeditions to Antarctica, one of the first flyovers. And they forgot to edit that out of the matrix. And so now we get to find pieces and bits of the truth. Anunnaki land in Antarctica, says Holly, in her opinion. So, what is good and evil? We know what good and evil is, and it rules this reality. The symbols are all used on the same chessboard. What matters is what side you're on. We're born into this matrix, born into these elements and symbols. It's almost impossible not to come across them. Look at the design of your lamp, the design of your drapes in your bed. The symbols are everywhere, fleur de lis. Design of tables and chairs and cars, it's all around us. How do we escape the matrix? You live for the good and not the evil. It is your fruit, the fruit that comes from your tree, the fruit that comes from your magnetic field shaped tree, your energy. What kind of energy do you give off? What does your fruit from your tree bear? There's a reason why Jesus said you will know them by their fruit. There is a reason, because the fruit falls from the tree, and you are a tree. You have limbs, you have arms and forearms and carpals and metacarpals and fingers. You have branches. You were made in God's image, El's image. Who is El? El is the tree, Elohim. El means tree. We were the fruit that fell not too far from the tree. We are in God's image. We are magnetic fields, you guys. That is the energy coming out of the top of your head and spinning back around in through your feet, through the ground. And your trunk is your trunk of your body and your limbs. And we walk through this reality. That is the truth, if you want to know it. If you can handle the truth, as they say. Few can. They call people like me all kinds of names. Take care and be safe, you guys.